Anglesey Abbey here in Cambridgeshire was home to Urban Huddleston Rogers Broughton, the first Lord Fairhaven, who used his inherited wealth to buy fine art and antiques to fill his home with, but also to shop at the world's most prestigious tailors and makers. Lord Fairhaven was known as a stylish dresser, especially in his youth in the 1930s. He was regularly photographed in society magazines like Tailor. The Anglesey Abbey menswear collection is a rare survival of 20th century bespoke clothing belonging to just one man that can be traced in the archives of surviving retailers. We know that Lord Fairhaven was placing orders at Huntsman Sons, Savile Row tailors, from the mid-20th century right up until the final year of his life in 1966. Let's go and take a look. Campbell, thank you so much for having us at Huntsman today. It's a real treat to be here and talk with you about Lord Fairhaven as a customer here and how the business is today. Can you just start by telling us a little bit about Huntsman and,
Sure.
and the history of the firm?
Well, where do you start? It's such a storied history going back to 1849, and here's the back of the neck sometimes go up when you think who's actually walked through these doors, the annals of Huntsman. It's an amazing place to work. We're working with the same methodology that Henry Huntsman would have worked with way back when, the 1840s. You can see on this glass box here, that's actually Henry Huntsman's breeches from probably the 1870s, 1880s. So testament to the longevity of a bespoke garment.
Yeah, wow. So when the customer comes in for their suit, as Lord Fairhaven would have done, how do you approach that?
It's quite a process to go through, if you're new to it.
Yeah.
Lord Fairhaven, from the ledgers you sent me, from the pictures, clearly knew what he was doing and what he was looking for. But for the first time client, it can be very intimidating. So straight away they'll ask you, where's the suit going to be worn, how many times a week, what's it for, talk about style of the cloth, what you're looking for, size of a pinstripe, the proportion of a check. And after that, it's measurements. That's where the cutter comes in. We're looking at figuration, how you hold yourself, and the difference between left and right shoulder, round backs, flat backs, prominent chest, shoulder width, sleeve length. You use the measurements like a set of coordinates and a map, and then the figuration. The old school term for it is rock of eye, which is where your trained eye and years of experience, you start to ignore those measurements and look at shapes rather than numbers.
Yeah. And from those measurements, you're then moving on to cutting the cloth that you carefully selected. It's hard to imagine how one gets from that 2D template, if you like, to the 3D garment. Tell us a bit about that.
So that's where the skill of the tailor comes in. It's all sewn over the tailor's knee so that it's always going, the chest is always going that way, the lapels are always rolling that way. And it's that handwork that will be in the garment for its life cycle.
So if I understood correctly, so the form of the maker's body is helping to shape the final garment?
You're always, just the canvases and the stitches are always going over a curve. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and then it's when it goes to the hand finisher. So all the buttons are sewn by hand, the buttonholes are done by hand, the lining sewn in by hand all around the edges.
Yeah, I mean, how much of that would have changed from when Lord Fairhaven?
None.
Yeah.
And that's the key, that's why we're still here, because we're still working to the same processes. It has to be passed down, and that's what people, I think more so than ever, are recognising the longevity. We've seen garments come back in the 1920s that still look brand new. It's so special to have something made bespoke is a real experience.
Completely unique, and I think something that I really love to imagine when I look at the clothes that Lord Fairhaven had made here is you wonder how is it that he wanted to express himself in a completely unique way.
That's the embodiment of bespoke, isn't it? What he had made, just looking at the wardrobe. He clearly knew what he was after.
The wardrobe at Anglesey Abbey is bursting at the seams with notable names from London's tailoring quarter. We have, of course, Huntsman of Savile Row, but also Bates Hatters and London's bespoke shoe and boot maker Maxwell's. Visitors often ask why Lord Fairhaven's main wardrobe isn't here in his bedroom, and that's because it needed to be close to his valet's bedroom, so his valet could manage his wardrobe and prepare his clothes for him. Here we have one of Lord Fairhaven's Huntsman smoking suits. A smoking suit is born out of a smoking jacket, which men would change into after dinner to preserve their dinner jackets from smelling of cigar smoke. Lord Fairhaven ordered 2 velvet smoking suits from Huntsman, this one in this lovely dark blue velvet and another in a wine-coloured velvet. It's quite unusual to have a whole suit made of velvet, much more common to just have the jacket in the velvet. So he's really been quite unconventional in some of his style choices here. The velvet has been cut so the nap of the fabric runs up the garment. And when we talk about nap, it's really just like when you're stroking a cat. There's a right way and a wrong way to stroke it. And this is something that tailors do, cutters do, so that as you're looking at the velvet, you're looking into the fibres of the fabric, so it appears much richer in colour. And that's in contrast to the glossiness of these lovely silk lapels. And we can see from the buttonhole that it's been very well used. It's out of shape, but to find a buttonhole on evening wear is pretty unusual. And if we look under here, we can see there's a little loop for the stem of the flower. And his signature flower he always wore was a carnation, red in the day, white for the evening. So let's take a closer look at the suit. Hidden inside the inside pocket, we find the tailor's label and lots of information about the garment, which provided clues to us. But we didn't understand what the information meant. So it's really been by working with Huntsman that we've been able to unlock what this all means. So at the top there we have H. Huntsman Sons of 11 Savile Row, London W1, Lord Fairhaven, and then his customer number, the date of the order, followed by the pattern number, and the numbers after the / indicate 1 for a jacket and 3 for the trousers, so 2 is a waistcoat. And then finally, CH, which we now know stands for Colin Hammock, who was head cutter at Huntsman in the 1960s. Colin Hammock was very discerning about who his customers were as head cutter, and it was his job to take Lord Fairhaven's measurements and ensure the suit fitted his unique form and style. Now, if we look at another detail that Huntsman have been able to enlighten us about, is the significance of the sleeve lining, which is this lovely lilac and cream stripe. Now, sleeve linings are slippier than other lining fabrics so that you can easily get your jacket on and off. And this lining fabric is unique to Huntsman. It's their signature sleeve lining, which they still use in their suits today. And one final detail that's really lovely to see are the buttons on the trousers used for holding braces. And this shows the name and the address of Huntsman Sons, something Huntsman no longer do on their suits, so it's really lovely to see it on this 60s example here. Lord Fairhaven used bespoke clothing as a tool to express himself. He understood the rules of dressing well enough that he could be playful with some of those details that we've seen today. And it's only by having such a complete collection here at Anglesey Abbey that we're able to form that bigger picture, giving us a real sense of the image he wanted to project to the world, and perhaps who Lord Fairhaven was, which really gets us wondering, what do our clothes say about who we are?